She said it without looking at me. Not tonight. Or any night. The words landed clean. No hesitation. No apology. Just a verdict delivered, like I was a habit she'd already quit. I remember the hum of the refrigerator, the glow of her phone on the counter, the way my reflection in the window looked older than it should have. I didn't argue. I nodded once. Inside, something closed. A door. A chapter. A mercy. Before that night, I was a man who believed in routine, in showing up, in the quiet math of building a life, mortgage paid early, weekends planned months out, dinners at 7. I believed love was maintenance, not fireworks. I believed loyalty was oxygen. I believed her. We had a language made of shared glances and unfinished sentences. I carried the heavier groceries. She chose the paint colors. I worked late so she wouldn't have to. She laughed easily then, touched my arm when she passed, called me her anchor. I wore that word like a medal. The first red flag didn't wave. It whispered, a locked phone face, down on the table, a new password, changed twice in a month. Work stuff. She said. I believed her because believing was easier than thinking. Then came the absences that didn't add up. Girls' night. On a Tuesday. A smile that arrived late to my jokes. The way she started dressing like the house was a runway. And I was the audience she no longer needed. I noticed the smell of a different cologne once. I told myself it was the cab. When intimacy became a negotiation, I told myself marriages have seasons. When affection became conditional, I told myself stress does that. When she stopped saying my name and started saying, hey, I told myself names are heavy. The night I found out, nothing exploded. That's the lie movies sell you. What really happens is your blood goes cold and your thoughts sharpen. I wasn't snooping. I was returning a charger to the car when her tablet lit up on the seat. A message preview. A name I didn't recognize. A sentence that didn't belong to me. I read everything. Slowly. Carefully. Like a surgeon. The jokes. The plans. The hotel confirmation she thought she deleted. The way she wrote his name with a softness she hadn't used on mine in months. I didn't cry. I didn't shout. I felt the weight shift from my chest to my spine. Hurt crystallized into purpose. That was the moment I stopped begging for scraps and started counting. Silence became my discipline. I documented everything. Timestamps, receipts, screenshots. I learned which days she lied best and which nights she came home smelling like excuses. I spoke to an attorney whose voice was calm and merciless. I separated accounts quietly, redirected automatic payments, updated beneficiaries. I became polite. I became precise. I didn't touch her tablet again. I didn't need to. Patterns confess more than devices. I started leaving early for the gym. She thought I'd quit. I poured myself into work, not to escape, but to consolidate. Promotions don't fall from the sky. They are harvested by men who stop wasting attention. She noticed the change, but misread it. Thought my silence meant surrender. Thought my distance meant defeat. She leaned into her fantasy harder. Left me alone with my order and my thoughts. She underestimated the value of a man who stops explaining himself. The showdown didn't happen in a restaurant or a courtroom. It happened on a quiet Sunday morning, the kind she used to love. I brewed coffee. Set 2 cups out of habit. She sat across from me, scrolling, smiling at nothing I could see. I slid a folder across the table. She looked up. Confused, I said nothing. She opened it. The color drained from her face page by page. I watched the realization ripple through her. First denial, then panic, then the desperate calculus of consequences. She started talking fast. Excuses tripping over apologies. She reached for my hand, like muscle memory would save her. I pulled back. Not angrily. Precisely. I know, I said. My voice didn't rise. That's what terrified her. I've known for months. Her mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. She asked how. I didn't answer. I told her what mattered. That the accounts were separated. That the house was documented. That my lawyer already had everything. That I wasn't interested in blame, only outcomes. She cried. Loudly. The kind of crying meant to reset the room. I let it play. Silence is a mirror. She asked if there was anything she could do. I sipped my coffee. It tasted better than it had in years. That night, she said my name again. Begged. Promised transparency, therapy, devotion. She said it was a mistake. She said she chose me. She said, tonight, like it was an offering. I smiled. Gently. Not tonight, I said, or any night. The weeks after were quiet, efficient, papers signed, boxes packed. She moved into a smaller place with bigger regrets. I kept the house, the routine, the peace. I slept through the night without negotiating my worth. Now she messages me sometimes. Long paragraphs, short apologies, photos from better days like they're coupons for forgiveness. She says she misses my steadiness, my discipline, my silence. She says she didn't know what she had until it was gone. I don't respond. Here's the confession part. The revenge wasn't the legal victory or the financial security. It wasn't watching her panic when the fantasy collapsed. It was redirecting my time, attention, and resources back to myself. It was choosing dignity over drama. It was letting consequences do the talking while I did the living. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't scorch the earth. I built a life so full and quiet that her absence finally made sense. She begged for forgiveness. I gave myself freedom.